collaboratively creating not a single government, not a global government. I know there's a conspiracy theory about that. It's not true. Being a globalist does not mean that you advocate for the loss of sovereignty. It's about trying to have a vision and create a foundation for experiencing the world in such an honest, authentic way, a transparent way. That's why we talk so much about transparency. Why is it a good thing? The less you lie, the less you deceive yourself, the less your culture deceives itself. The more honestly, the more trusting, the less corruption. What's corruption? Bribes. Paying people, using some other form of attraction that is exploitive, that does not have a synergistic impact. There are win-win situations. And these are the lows. Measure your heel. Measure your heel in shoes. Stretch your knees, stretch your quadriceps, stretch your hip flexors. So much of our lives, our feet are forward and our heads are down. It's like we forgot that there is the feeling of heaven by looking upwards. I understand why they said heaven must be above. The world is here. The world is down here. But there's heaven above. I can't see what's on top of those clouds. The lightning must come from somewhere. And I come back to these points of conformity. These points in which the curves, the tracks of blood and fluids, and the ways that gravity impacts them. We don't study that as much as we should in our scientific studies. This should be fundamental knowledge, but the culture just takes it for granted. Developing nations, if they aren't recognizing the importance of these principles and finding some way of integrating them, these are principles that are for civilization. Because civilization is not hunting and gathering. That's our natural approach to moving. Even if you were migrating, you had to be conscious. Every member of your tribe had to be conscious of your surroundings. And there would be times when you might want to move slowly into an unknown area. Become aware of your front muscles. The meridians of expansion. The angles of variations in your hips. Go to your toe tips, lift your feet. Find these comparative, polarizing muscle groups. Everything has an opposite. But use that to find a balanced default system. a default position in which everything is sharing the responsibility of everything else. For a moment. Just a moment. And breathe yourself into the shapes by positioning your hands and your feet. Become as big as you can be, and then become as small as you can be. And that space between is the feeling of balance. If you transition between those extremes, slowly and methodically, every human being deserves to understand their potential. And that means that they need to have a scaffold to support that process of discovery. I believe that to every atom and molecule and cell of my body. Every electron that's transmitting these commands. I would die for this. Do you see how free I am? Can you hear how free I am? There's a knock at the door. I've got to go check it. Thanks for watching. It feels so good. It feels so good, and I feel so selfish. Try it, please. Please. Thanks.